My name is SIDI LARBI CHERKAOUI. I'm a choreographer. I'm from Antwerp, Belgium. My father is Moroccan, from Tanger. I use different cultures in my work because I feel connected to them. There is something in me that makes me feel at home over there or over there. So there's a lot of elements that feel not foreign to me, but actually very, very, very close. At Retrat right now I am performing Fractus 5. The performers of Fractus 5 come from many, many different countries. The musicians are from India, from Japan, from Korea, from Congo. The dancers are from the USA, France, Germany. One is from Spain, and I'm from Belgium with roots from Morocco. I think the reason why the show starts with a polyphonic song and ends with a polyphonic song was to show our connectedness, to show that we can actually, all at the same time focus on the same song and kind of like sound like one. The set design of Fractus 5 is like a floor that is completely broken, and we're trying to put it back together, but it never really fits. Sometimes we put them in a certain field as if it's like all the possible doors that one could choose to go, like all the possibilities, but it also looks a bit like a prison, almost like it's bars. The gun scene in the performance was very instinctual. Almost 3 or 2 weeks before the premiere, we were working around something and I felt we need guns on stage. We need to do this. It was like something was telling me that the audience needed to be confronted with this image. Maybe it had to do with Charlie Hebdo, maybe it had to do with all the the police that I saw in the streets in Antwerp, or I don't know, but there was definitely something in which I felt guns in this performance had to be at some point used to show the absurdity of the types of weapons that we have developed to destroy each other and ourselves. But then when the 13th of November happened in Paris, it became even worse. It became more painful to watch this scene. There's the violence in the performance that we show, but then there is also the violence of looking at the violence. At one side, I needed to see it to know that it happened. On the other, it's also on the verge of a voyeur, and being able to see this from a very safe place in Antwerp and looking at the world from this ivory tower that I'm living in. And so I think the pictures in the show were a way to address this ivory tower aspect. I think there's a couple of themes in the work, one being the notion of freedom of speech. When you are talking about a subject like freedom of speech, you have to go towards what do you want to say, and if you know what you want to say, it has to do with what are you thinking. So it's a lot about how free is your thinking. Lots of people are very dogmatic in their thinking.
The thing is, you have to develop an independent mind and work on it. Now that's very hard to do alone. The beauty of this system is that it isolates everybody. Each person is home alone in front of the tube. It's very hard to have thoughts and ideas under these circumstances.
Freedom of expression, which for me was connected to Noam Chomsky. He always speaks about you need a system, but the system should have as little victims as possible. And every political system has victims. And so if the victims are now refugees or immigrants, this is the people we need to take care of. They are not the people we have to start blaming. I went to another philosopher, which was Alan Watts, because for me Alan Watts really proposes a way of experiencing reality by not thinking too much. And then from this experience, from listening, from looking, from tasting, from feeling really deeply, then the thinking comes back. And then you have something to think about. I think there's definitely something to say about the way beauty gets torn down by reality. It takes a lot of time to create something beautiful, and it is very fast to destroy it. Violence is just constantly coming back, and we need to face it. We need to look at it. The future of violence is that it becomes something that is not anymore in reality. Ideally, it only goes to the stage. It becomes creating something with this energy we have that is too much, because I think most people are pretty violent actually, and they need to channel that energy. My generation has been very influenced by video games and by all the possibilities of, like slowing down something, like rewind or fast forward. We have learned to slow down reality and look at what really happens. What I like about it, it gives the possibility to look in between the moments. It's another way of expanding reality, or the capacity to look at reality. I love slow motion in that sense. It just allows us to perceive what really happened. And so slow motion is just something that I will very often try and use in choreography, because it brings a certain peace. Feels like you can live longer if we could live in slow motion. There's something magic about dancing, so I wanted that all of us together, the 5 dancers, would generate material that would create different types of energy, different types of magic. For instance, with the flamenco, it's really the sound and the fact that there is the rhythmical possibilities. The clapping sequence with the kalimba and the Korean voice, for me, was a way to create a sense of community, a cycle, almost like a tribal dance. Then there are sequences that are more mechanic, as if we are a machine, where everything kind of like has to be put into each other. And this was more influenced by the hip hop and the tutting, which is more square. And then I had that very organic kind of like hip sequence, which is kind of sensual and almost funny. It's like a flow. People would say it's very feminine to move like this, but I think it's also very masculine to move like that. I think we are starting to understand that certain aspects of society are not working. I'm just an artist, I make dance. I want to put the question on the stage, and hopefully it brings people into finding certain solutions.